It was just an ordinary afternoon at Oakwood Elementary. Kids laughed as they poured out of the school gates, backpacks bouncing, ready to tell their parents about their day. But for one little girl, this day would be anything but ordinary. 8-year-old Lily Carter stood frozen near the school entrance, her tiny wrists locked in cold metal handcuffs. Her dark curls stuck to her tear-streaked face as she choked out, "I didn't do it. Please let me go." A security officer gripped her arm, his face stern. "Stop fighting, kid. You're only making it worse." Parents nearby gasped and whispered, but no one moved to help. Across the street, David Carter stepped out of his sleek black car. A wealthy businessman, he'd promised his daughter he'd pick her up today. No driver, no excuses. He wanted to see her face light up when she spotted him. But instead of laughter, he heard a scream. "Daddy!" His blood ran cold. There was Lily, his sweet, kind-hearted little girl, being dragged toward a police car like a criminal. David moved faster than he ever had in his life. His polished shoes pounded against the pavement as he charged toward them. "What are you doing to my daughter?" His voice wasn't just angry, it was thunder. The officer flinched. "Sir, step back. She was caught stealing a teacher's watch. School policy. You handcuff children for this?" David's hands shook as he knelt in front of Lily. Her wrists were red and raw. "Daddy, I swear I didn't take anything," she sobbed. He cupped her face, his voice softening even though his heart raged. "I know, baby. I believe you." Then he turned back to the officer, and his next words were ice cold. Now." The officer hesitated. But one look at David's face, the fire in his eyes, the way his jaw clenched, and he slowly unlocked the cuffs. David scooped Lily into his arms, shielding her from the staring crowd. As he carried her to the car, she buried her face in his shoulder, her whole body trembling. "Daddy, are you mad at me?" she whispered. His heart shattered. "Never, sweetheart," he said, pressing a kiss to her hair. "I'm mad at them. And I promise you, this isn't over." And folks, that was only the beginning. When we left off, little Lily Carter had just been freed from those terrible handcuffs. But her father David knew this fight was far from over. Because sometimes, friends, the truth isn't just hidden. It's buried under fear, under prejudice, under the silence of those too scared to speak up. But David Carter, he wasn't about to let silence win. That night, Lily slept fitfully in her princess pajamas, her small hands still marked where the metal had bitten into her skin. David sat at his kitchen table, staring at his laptop, his coffee gone cold. He'd already made 3 calls. 1, his lawyer. "I want every policy from that school on my desk by morning." 2, a private investigator. "Dig up everything on that teacher and the security officer." 3, the local news reporter. "Meet me tomorrow. This story needs to be told." His phone buzzed. A text from his assistant. "Sir, you were right. The teacher's missing watch was found in a student's locker. Not Lily's." David's grip on his phone tightened. The next morning, David marched into Oakwood Elementary like a man on a mission. The secretary took one look at him and paled. "Mr. Carter, the principal is in a meet." "Not anymore," David said, pushing past her. Inside the principal's office, 3 people sat frozen. A Principal Harris, sweating in his too tight suit. A Mrs. Lowell, the teacher who'd accused Lily, clutching her coffee like a shield. A Officer Darnell, the security guard who'd cuffed an 8-year-old, avoiding David's eyes. "Who gave the order to handcuff my daughter?" David's voice was deadly calm. "Silence." "I didn't take it." A small voice cracked through the tension. A freckled boy, maybe 9 years old, stood in the doorway, his face streaked with tears. "It was me. I took Mrs. Lowell's watch as a joke. But when they started yelling at Lily, I got scared." The room erupted. Mrs. Lowell gasped. "Ethan." "But Lily was standing right by my desk." "Because I asked her to." Ethan cried. I told her to distract you so I could grab it. David's heart pounded. This was worse than he thought. Not just a mistake. Set up. And the worst part. You didn't even check the cameras, did you? David said quietly. You saw my daughter, her skin color, her last name, and decided she was guilty. Principal Harris opened his mouth, but David cut him off. Save it. We're done here. As he turned to leave, Ethan grabbed his sleeve. Mr. Carter. Is Lily okay? David looked down at the boy. Scared, ashamed, but finally brave enough to tell the truth. She will be, he said. But thanks to you, other kids won't have to go through this. And folks. The next morning, the entire city would wake up to a story they'd never forget. After the shocking confession in Principal Harris's office, David Carter faced a choice. He could have sued the school, taken their money, and walked away. But this was never just about Lily. This was about every child who'd ever been unfairly judged. And so, on a bright Thursday morning, David took his fight where the whole world could see it. The school courtyard was packed. News vans lined the street. Cameras flashed as David stepped up to the microphone, holding Lily's hand tightly. She wore her favorite yellow dress, the one she said made her feel like sunshine. My daughter was handcuffed for a crime she didn't commit, David began, his voice steady but fierce. But today isn't just about Lily. It's about every child who's been presumed guilty because of how they look, where they come from, or who their parents are. Behind him, the school board members shifted uncomfortably. Then David did something no one expected. He turned and looked directly at Principal Harris. You have 30 seconds to apologize to my daughter. In front of these cameras. Or I show everyone what my investigators found about your disciplinary policies. The principal's hands shook as he stepped forward. Lily, we failed you, he choked out. We were wrong. Can you ever forgive us? The crowd held its breath. Lily studied the principal's face, then did something extraordinary. She smiled. I forgive you, she said softly. But you have to promise to be nicer to kids. Even when you're having a bad day. As David wrapped up, a small figure pushed through the crowd. Ethan, the boy who'd taken the watch, carried a handmade card. I'm really sorry, Lily, he said, his voice trembling. The card read, To the bravest person I know. Lily hugged him without hesitation. It's okay. You told the truth. That's what matters. David watched, his eyes shining. This moment of grace, was the victory he'd really wanted. The changes came fast. A new policies banning handcuffs for children under 12. A bias training for all staff. A Mrs. Lowell's resignation after parents demanded accountability. But the most powerful moment came when Lily walked back into school that first Monday. The same kids who'd whispered about her now stood up, one by one, and clapped. Not because she was famous. Not because her dad was rich. But because she'd stood tall when the world tried to break her. As David knelt to adjust her backpack, Lily whispered something that would stay with him forever. Daddy. I'm glad this happened. Why, sweetheart? Because now everyone knows. When something's wrong, we don't stay quiet. We fix it.